look, if you're headed to Orlando in 2025 and you're going to have to pick between going to either Disney World or Universal, I think that you should probably pick. Wait for it. Wait for it. I don't even know why I did that. I'm not going to lie. I think you should pick Disney World. Here's why I think Disney World is the clear winner for 2025 specifically. You have Universal opening Epic Universe, yes, but it's a brand new park, not just a brand new land like, say, Galaxy's Edge was in 2019, or, Avatar was in 2015, or whenever that one opened. I can't even remember at this point. But you basically have an entire new theme park, which hasn't happened in a very long time in Orlando. So the way that Universal is going to attempt to combat the crowd levels at their parks this year is by offering a single 3-day ticket option. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get into Epic Universe. And the real kicker is you can only visit Epic on one of those days. So there's not a real feasible path to visit Epic twice this year. I guess maybe if you scheduled 2 vacations, you could do it that way, although that's going to cost you a pretty penny if you're taking your entire family, or heck, even if you're just going with your friends, whatever it may be. That's going to cost quite a bit of coin if you're going to try and get 2 days out of it. And here's the thing, you're not going to be able to do it consecutively. So with that, I think between the two options, right? Disney World obviously has Animal Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Magic Kingdom. Universal will now have Epic Universe, Islands of Adventure, and Universal Studios. You could, we won't even really talk about the water parks. I think they're kind of irrelevant. They're not really in the main conversation of what we're going to be talking about. So when it comes to Universal and their offerings, right? You have Universal Studios, which is almost 90% screen rides. What I mean by that is you have rides like Fast and Furious, which I don't really even know how to explain that one to you. There's literally a part where Vin Diesel is on this like drone helicopter and he's hanging on the side of it, and yeah, you have that one. You have one of the better ones, I think, which is Transformers. There, you have the Minion Mayhem and the other Despicable Me one that's there. I can't even remember. You have the Jimmy Fallon ride, which, if you didn't know that's a thing, now you do. There's a Jimmy Fallon ride, Tonight Show ride at Universal Studios Orlando. You have E.T., which is not a screen ride, and arguably I think that's the best ride that Universal Studios, like that specific park, has still. It's pretty incredible. And I always get mixed up on which Harry Potter park is at which park. So you've got you've got like Diagon Alley and all of that stuff. I think that's the one that's in Universal, if I'm not mistaken. And then you've got Hogsmeade and everything over in Islands of Adventure. You can take the Hogwarts Express between the two parks that way, which is kind of a ride in that of itself, and that's a lot of fun. All that to say, Islands of Adventure has more of the good stuff, I think. I feel that both Harry Potter pieces, whatever you want to call them, are equally fantastic. There's some really great stuff. That's the best themed area within Universal by a mile. And a lot of that is just due to, things advancing when that section of both of those parks were built and how they executed it versus how they did, in like the late 90s when the original park opened, right? So all that to say, I've always treated Universal as a supplementary visit if I'm going down to Orlando to go to Disney for a few days or something. The only time that I haven't was a couple years ago. My wife and I went just for an after, kind of mid-spring trip just to get away for a little bit. We met one of my best friends down there, and we had a good time. We went to the park for 2 days. We almost did everything on day one. So day two was where it should have been kind of a pickup day to pick up the pieces that we lost. Instead, it just ended up being a lot of, oh, that was fun, let's do that again, All that to say, Universal you can do fairly quickly. Even like the shows and stuff that they offer, we did like the Beetlejuice one, or well, Beetlejuice was outside of it. Sorry, it was like a horror makeup show, I think, which was fun. And then there's like a Born Ultimatum Identity, whatever, a stunt show that replaced the Terminator show, which was also pretty fun. But by and large, outside of the Harry Potter stuff, everything is fairly dated. And I think that they're going to have a chance to rectify a lot of that and really kind of pick up some of the slack. The main piece that comes to mind to me is the area of Jurassic Park. You have everything there is very lackluster. Even the River Adventure, which really is a pretty awesome ride when it's functioning properly, it's just real rundown. At least it was a couple years ago when I went. And the Velocicoaster, while great and the theming is awesome, and the animatronic raptors and the queue and everything are super super sick, that's a very isolated sort of portion of the park. So it needs some updates, and I'm just using that as one example. I think that there's a larger conversation here about having Universal update a lot of that older stuff, not get rid of it necessarily, but just get it updated. Obviously, with the Marvel stuff, there's a little bit of it would be kind of tough, I guess, just because of the rights issues and everything that they'd face. They can't use any of the movie stuff, really. I think that they're able to sell movie merch there, but obviously it's licensed through Disney, and I don't know how much of a profit Universal's actually making off of any of that merchandise. I digress. Doesn't even really matter. That's an aside. What I'm getting at is Universal overall, outside of Epic, which is going to be all new stuff. And if you're watching this video, you're probably familiar with Epic. There's, I think, 4 or 5 new lands. There's yet another Harry Potter thing that's going to be there, the Ministry of Magic. There's Dark Universe. There's the Helios Hotel, which is going to be really, really nice. Probably on par with a lot of the nicer Disney what is the word here? Oh my goodness, resorts that they've done over the years. It's probably going to be closer to that versus like their Hard Rock Hotel that Universal has and everything. While nice, it's never been Disney level. Epic is the first park that feels like an actual direct competition with Disney. You have the How to Train Your Dragon stuff, all of that going on as well. There's just a lot there. Obviously, Nintendo Land, and the Donkey Kong Country too. There's just a bunch of new, really cool stuff there. But you're only going to get one day if you get that 3-day ticket. So, what does that mean for you? Well, it likely means that everyone's going to be fighting to get into that park. So you're going to be dealing with an at capacity Epic Universe for quite some time, right? Quite some time. So we're going to have all that going on. And then you're also going to, on your other 2 days, everyone had to buy that 3-day ticket. So my prediction is the overall crowd levels at all their parks are going to be above average probably for this year because people are going to want to get their money's worth, right? So all that to say, I think Disney is the move. And I think it's the move because you can kind of pick and choose what you'd like to do. You can do all 4 parks. You can do one park for 4 days. You can do however you would like to slice it. You're able to do that at Disney World this year. The other thing with Disney that I think you just don't quite get with Universal yet, I think that Universal is absolutely coming for Disney's throat. Don't get me wrong here. I think that maybe in 10 years' time, it's going to be a lot more of a level playing field. Or heck, Universal is going to surpass Disney if Disney doesn't kind of get their act together. Disney is exorbitantly expensive. It's really difficult. So for instance, I love going to the parks. I'm not an annual pass holder. I live in Georgia. It's not feasible for me to pay, $1,500, $1,600, whatever it is now to get an annual pass when I've got 2 kids and a wife, and I'm not going to make it down there, to make it worth it. Right. But, even just trying to figure out going to Disney World this year, my parents want to go with us. So my kids' grandparents and, my wife and I would like to go. We're going to have to kind of plan for it, and I think that that's the case for most people, right? Disney has sort of priced out the lower middle class portion, and that's difficult in that of itself, right? But the thing that you still do get with Disney is you get sort of that top tier hotel experience, depending on where you're staying. Even the all-star resorts are pretty good for what they are. You get really great food. I think that Disney absolutely has Universal on food still to this day. And ride experiences, Disney definitely has better rides. As much as I love Harry Potter, like, I don't think that any one of those rides, not even Hagrid's really, which is a good one, but not even that one, which is one of the newer ones, can really compete with something, say, like Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. I just think that Disney's overall theming is a lot better overall, right? So with all of that, I think that your bang for buck and the value of fun you're going to get or entertainment you're going to get at Disney World is going to be a lot higher than that of Universal for this year specifically. And that's also just kind of, and this has been a long sort of debate over the years as well. Disney has more stuff for families, and Universal, even when I was growing up, was always the park that you went to more as like, when you got into middle school, teenage years, that sort of thing. It was the older park, quote unquote. And I think the Universal's trying to, do some stuff to rectify that a little bit and make it a little more like family, even with young kids, right? There's not a whole lot for young kids at Universal, but there is a Disney. Babies can get on the dark rides like Pirates or It's a Small World, or literally, take your pick. They have a bunch of them, and they're all really fun. I think that there's just more value for families at Disney right now, even with the higher ticket prices and all of that. That said, Disney's got some stuff coming out over the next few years, right? We've got, and there's a lot of, I won't even get into all of the debate that's, there with them getting rid of the Rivers of America and, getting rid of Muppets and getting rid of the Bugs Life show and all that stuff in favor of what? In Animal Kingdom, we've got like the Zootopia thing going where Bugs Life was. You've got Indiana Jones, which I'm still trying to make that make sense in my brain. Animal Kingdom. You got Indiana Jones taking over the dinosaur ride, which, like, fine, I guess. It's probably just going to be a carbon copy of what they got at Disneyland, which, whatever. That's fine. And then you have the Encanto ride, which that has me far more interested. From what I understand, it's the same ride system, that they've got going in the like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and the Rise of the Resistance, all that sort of stuff. So that will probably be pretty good. The other one that actually does interest me is the Monsters Inc. ride that's going in Hollywood Studios. I think that's going to be probably a pretty fun ride. Cars Land going in Magic Kingdom doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me. I think overall, and this again is kind of a larger thing, Disney has kind of lost their way in terms of like the cohesion in their parks, like in their like Magic Kingdom versus Epcot versus Hollywood versus Animal Kingdom. There's not a whole lot of cohesion between the different lands within said park, right? Which, we live in a time, day and age where the IP is becoming the forefront of the theme parks. That's true at Universal as well. You can make an argument that at Universal that was always sort of the case. It was kind of a theme park based on their movies and everything, whereas Disney didn't really start that way, right? So I don't know. It's even evidenced, y'all, by like the movies coming out this year. I think that there's one original movie that's on the Disney slate, and it's not even really a Disney movie. It's that one with Rami Malek that's coming out in like a couple months. It was like I think it was a Fox, they inherited it from Searchlight or something like that. Or maybe they made it under the Searchlight name. Again, doesn't really matter. I'm just telling you, it's like, it feels kind of creatively bankrupt, right? It's a lot of sequels. It's a lot of live action remakes. How much more consumers can take of all that, I don't really know. I think a lot of people are burned out, but I was talking with some friends last night, and general audiences may love it, may not be burned out. I had no interest or desire to see Mufasa. Still haven't seen it. Probably won't watch it, to be honest with you. I'm just kind of good on all of that. Same with like the Snow White one that's coming out. And as much as I like Lilo and Stitch, I might watch that one, but I'm just kind of over all of that stuff. And I feel like I'm doing a flip-flop here in this video. But the reality is, I think if you're visiting a park this year and you're taking your family, for instance, Disney is going to be the move for you, even still. Even with all of the hang-ups and the quirks that come with it and the lightning lane muddiness and the Daz Pass fiasco stuff, like, there's... Take your pick of issues that are out there with Disney parks right now, especially Walt Disney World. But at the end of the day, when you compare it to pretty much anything else except for like Tokyo Disneyland, which, a lot of people living in the States aren't going to be visiting Tokyo Disneyland, it's still probably the best that we've got at the moment. And I think that Epic Universe is going to make a strong case that it's not going to be this way forever. But when you're sort of handcuffed and you can only go to Epic one day with your 3-day ticket, then I don't know that it's worth it this year. Personally, probably not doing it. But what do you think? Am I right about all of this? Am I wrong about all of this? Do you have anything else of value to contribute to my thoughts in the comments? Go ahead and do it. Like, subscribe, all the things. Appreciate you tuning in as always. Peace.